happens with jet lag or change in your work schedule, it can persist for weeks, usually because of some illness. But there are some things that you can do as we age to help with insomnia. Regular exercise, good massage, sex, rotating your work shifts sometimes causes problems. Older people tend to be more sensitive to caffeine. So, but anyone with a sleeping problem should avoid it late in the day, and that means no coffee, sodas, chocolate tea, except chamomile, which can help you sleep. No diet pills. So, don't smoke before bedtime, and a proper diet also is very effective with insomnia. And review your medications because a lot of medications can affect your sleeping. So, at this point, we're going to hear a word from one of our sponsors. When we come back, we will be joined by my co-host, my partner, Wendy Meyeroff, and she's going to take over the show talking about healthy aging from the business perspective. So we want to just say a little bit about Wendy, and I'm going to tell you that, of course, again, she's my partner, co-host, and Wendy is CEO of WM Medical Communications. She writes and reports and produces the business portion of Partners in Health and Biz. So we're going to hear a word from one of our sponsors. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Do you suffer from allergies, depression, arthritis, headaches, diabetes, hair loss, and more? If yes, any of these symptoms could indicate a mineral imbalance or toxicity. Kristen Harper, health and wellness speaker and founder of Perfect Health Consulting Services, holds the key to your improved health and vitality. Hair Analysis provides information from where problems begin. Order your personal hair analysis at perfecthealthconsultingservices.com.
And we are back. You're listening to Partners in Health and Biz on the PIH Radio Network. I'm your host, Gail Dixon. So happy you could join me. Joining me right now in studio is my partner, Wendy Meyeroff. Wendy, welcome to Partners in Health. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Hello, and a happy Saturday morning to you, Gail. It's nice to be back again with you.
Yes, yes, yes. So I have just been sharing information about health and wellness, the aspect of health and wellness as we age, and you have some valuable information. You are the medical reporter that have been doing this for years, and so we would like to hear your side, and you can take over the show and just let me know when you want me to jump back in and talk to us about healthy aging from the business aspect of aging. What's going on in the business world?
Oh, Lord, there's so much, and to try and boil it down into just 15 minutes on my side, it's so much fun because we could chat together for 4,000 hours. So
Absolutely.
what we both boiled down. Thank you so much for the first half of the show of Partners in Health and Biz, Gail. So to get to the biz side, okay, so one of the things I want to remind hospitals and doctors, since I'm talking on the business side, I want to remind folks to bring up the issue with their older adults, because the older adults we know are on usually on an average 5 medications, and they have different conditions, of course. And so we want to remind them that electronic health records, electronic medical records, I've seen them and heard them done both ways, they are available, or they should be, if they're not in your hospital or your outpatient groups yet. Folks, come on, get moving. You're already 10 years late, according to what George W. Bush put in. So make sure if there are these options, especially if you have the USB ports that they can carry around. If an older adult, and I mean really much older, doesn't understand and really can't use the technology, find out if there's a family member, a friend, somebody who can carry this around and be in touch with you more easily to keep healthy aging going. Because, of course, you want to know how they're feeling. You want to know if they've been in touch with other doctors. Try and make sure you get all this information, because I still remember doing an article, as many times I've written it over and over, about natural versus safe. So here Gail's given you wonderful advice, and we talk about vitamins and minerals and all this extra stuff, and most of them are wonderful, but it always pays. There's the brown bag piece you've got to do with your patients. You have them bring everything, not just what's in the prescription bottles. You have them bring all their everything they're taking. So I don't care if it's CoQ10, vitamin B stuff, whether it's something else. Make sure they bring it all with them, especially if their best friend just suggested it to them. They've got to bring everything and go through it all, because you never know what's going to interact badly. Make sure you ask them if they've been eating grapefruit, because I've loved grapefruit. My hubby loves grapefruit. Lots of friends and family love grapefruit. But unfortunately, we don't know totally why, perhaps, but that's the one citrus. It's not so much oranges, lemons, and limes, but grapefruit has something in it that really affects medications. So please make sure, if you've got somebody and they love healthy diets and they're making great fruit salads and all that kind of stuff, there's just one piece they've got to leave out of it, okay? So remember, you have to be able to speak in lay language. If you haven't heard the shows Gail and I have done on lay language, you can find it on here, or you can email us at partnersinhealth.biz. There are ways we can get you links to the shows where we did our lay language stuff. I believe they're both on Spreaker, if I remember correctly. Am I right, Gail?
That's right. As a matter of fact, I had to deal with lay language in my mother's doctor yesterday. Yeah, so you can get them on Spreaker, and also they're still on Blog Talk, Spreaker.com and Blog Talk. Our lay language shows, 2 of them.
Okay. I also want to remind doctors, especially the primary care, the nurse practitioners, anybody, if you've got older women, you really want to make sure that you are listening carefully when they talk about a variety of symptoms, because it is World Heart Day. So I just set up something, I'm calling it It's Help a Heart's Aging. So the heart, especially along with the rest of us, we've got to be careful. So look at hashtag exclamation point, and you will pass it around, because we know that as women age, especially, it's not that we're not thinking about the guys out there, doctors and nurses, but we know you're paying attention when they say they're in pain. 1 in 3 women, I'm sorry to say, dies every year from cardiovascular disease and stroke, and the Heart Association and all sorts of places, whether you check WebMD, remind your patients what they can be looking at, because very often the symptoms for women are different than in men. Some may get chest pains, the women, but it's not usually on that one side. It can be squeezing all over. They can have shortness of breath. Okay, they can have stomach pain, believe it or not. Every time I look it up and remind myself. And unfortunately, fewer women than men survive their first heart attack. So doctors, nurses, any one of you who are essentially the primaries, especially, remind your female patients, and of course, as they get older, especially, don't go poo-poo, dear, oh, that's nothing. I remember years ago, Oprah did one of the first shows about women and heart disease, and we still have to be paying attention in the industry, because it was sad when I double-checked and the websites are saying, well, unfortunately, some docs still often don't catch it. So pay more attention, folks, all right? And get the word out. There are all sorts of handouts you can download. In fact, the group that's celebrating World Heart Day, Go up online, just type in World Heart Day, and there are all sorts of downloads for corporations, for the health professionals. So if that's who you are, and if you're in social media, get it all out. There's still plenty of time. We've got much of the day left, folks, okay? So get that stuff out. I want to remind our listeners that we need more geriatricians in this country. When I had the pleasure of being a guest at, I believe it was the 2006, because this happens once every 10 years, and I was at the 2006 President's Council on Aging. Now, this was established by President Eisenhower. I was at the one when Bush 43 was still pres, and it was sad in one particular way. It was a wonderful conference. It's a great event. They bring in people from all over the place, and it's just amazing, the feedback. And they're not all doctors, and I'll tell you why in a second. But the stats show we need more geriatricians. And if you tuned in or you want to go back to the show I did for Partners in Health and Biz on mental health and seniors, that's included, because it's hard enough we don't have enough geriatric specialists in this country. We don't have, because geriatrics, or we say geriatricians, we're talking the docs, but geriatric specialists, we need nurses, we need hospice care. We need a physical therapist who, now that we can do hip replacements in their 80s and sometimes even older, depending on the health, we didn't do that 20-something years ago. So you sat there. Right, Gail? You can tell. We did that.
Right.
We put people in a walker or even in wheelchairs and tough noogies. That's it. Sit there. Okay. And now you can do it.
We're down to like 3 minutes, Wendy. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I know you wanted to talk briefly about domestic violence in seniors, and we have about 3 minutes left.
Okay.
To the end of the
really,
show.
what I labeled it domestic violence, but I really just wanted to put in a quick number with everything that's been going in Congress and the talk that there's been out there on sexual assault. So whether it's your loved one doing it to you or a stranger or a boss, I want to remind people, and thanks for letting me put this note in, Gail, there is the sexual assault helpline, and that's 800-656-HOPE. 1-800-656, and find the letters for HOPE, folks. Okay, so I am glad you let me put that in. Not glad because it's needed, but glad that we were allowed to get this on the air so quickly. Thanks a lot for that, Gail.
Oh, you're welcome. Sure. So, didn't mean to cut you off. Did you want to add some more to what you were saying about geriatrics?
Well, I'll add in one more thing, because even if we can build back the number of geriatric specialists we need in this country, you've got to have transportation, folks. Be out there screaming at Congress as if they didn't have enough to do, but talk about transportation. And not just the federal law, but city, state. There are wonderful services, but there are not enough of them, because if you can't drive a car, forget it. This ex-New Yorker who moved down to Baltimore, it's a lovely place, Baltimore, despite its bad publicity, but there is no real mass transit here. So even just to get to the supermarket, I have to be able to hop in a car for a quart of milk. So, and especially for health and fitness, to get to doctors, to go to the gym, to swim at the Y, whatever. We've got to get people around. So all of you, whether you're the patients, whether you're the families, whether you're my biz side here at Partners in Health and Biz, try and get through this issue, please. So that's what I chimed in to get in 15 minutes or less. So, Gail,
yeah, we're going to have to do
the goodbye and how to reach us type stuff.
Yes, go right ahead. Let's inform them. You go first with our 90 seconds left.
Okay, find us at partnersinhealth.biz, and my direct website is wmmedcom.com. medcomm.com. And Gail, tell them what you'd like them to know.
And my website you can visit is www.partnersinhealth.biz, partnersinhealth.biz. You can go there and find all the information